What's up, everybody? It's Trey Smith, one half of the Blue Bloods College Game Time podcast, and tonight I want to get into Notre Dame's new wide receiver coach. It was just announced a little earlier this evening that Chansi Stuckey from the Baylor Bears will be joining Marcus Freeman's staff at Notre Dame as his wide receivers coach, and I've kind of been reading some of the reports and reading some of the feedback and some of the fan reaction, and it seems a little split. It seems like there's some people who are like, who is this guy? Has he really earned what it means to be the receivers coach at a program like Notre Dame? He's very limited on his coaching experience, and all that may be true. However, I want to come from a different perspective from what I've seen being reported that I think will play well for Chansi Stuckey and ultimately make this hire out to be potentially a home run. So as I was studying Coach Stuckey's background, he was a player at Clemson, spent 4 years in the NFL, and then had a year in the CFL, playing in the Canadian leagues. Then he had a couple years in like a player development GA type role at Clemson, which was where he played his college ball. And then he got his opportunity to be a Power 5 position coach at Baylor this past season, won a Sugar Bowl. And he really started to prove himself as a recruiter when he flipped the 4-star receiver in Texas from the Texas Longhorns. I guess he technically didn't flip him because the Longhorns were having such an abysmal season that receiver ended up decommitting. But then Coach Stuckey was the reason that he ended up choosing to commit to Baylor and signed with them in early signing day. I think he signed with the early signing day, or he's committed to him. But the reason I wanted to make this video is because of this. As I was looking at Chansi's background and his sort of fast rise through the ranks, I was reminded of another pretty popular, very famous head football coach who actually is a head NFL football coach getting ready to coach in the NFL playoffs this upcoming weekend, who has a very similar background to what Chansi Stuckey has. Okay, this guy that I'm talking about played 5 years in the NFL to Chansi's 4, played a year in the Canadian leagues just like Chansi did, spent 2 years in a GA quality control type role, just like Stuckey did, and then finally got his opportunity to be a positions coach. And then after 2 years as a position coach, he was an offensive coordinator in the SEC, won a Heisman Trophy with Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M, and I'm talking about none other than Cliff Kingsbury. If you look at Cliff Kingsbury's rise in the coaching profession, combined with his playing background, Chansi Stuckey comes from a very similar cloth if you look at how they each came up. And I would say it worked out pretty well in Cliff Kingsbury's case. Now he's a head coach in the NFL, like I said, getting ready to coach in the NFL playoffs this upcoming weekend. I'm not saying that's going to be Coach Stuckey's path, but what I'm saying is for those of you that are a little worried that he's not experienced enough, or a little worried that maybe he doesn't have enough skins on the wall to be the positions coach, to be the wide receiver coach at Notre Dame University, a obviously oiled blue blood program, I think you should look at somebody like that to see, okay, maybe I don't need to jump to this conclusion based on his experience, but let me look at what he has done. He's played in the NFL. He's played in the Canadian League. He's proving that he has what it takes to survive on the recruiting trail. And as it pertains to Notre Dame, this is a guy who's from Georgia. He played at Clemson. He has ties to the Southeast. He has ties to the state of Texas. I believe if you give someone like this an opportunity at a program like Notre Dame, there's no reason that in the next 3 or 4 years, we couldn't be talking about Coach Chansi Stuckey as one of the top assistant coaches in all of college football. And on top of that, if you go listen to this guy in interviews, or you go listen to this guy in podcasts or anything like that, he is a man of faith. He is a man who is genuine and authentic, and I really believe he's the perfect fit for Notre Dame. I think he will rise. He will prove himself in his position, and as I've already said, really become one of the top assistants as it pertains to recruiting, as it pertains to developing players in all of college football. That's all I've got for you today. I'm Trey Smith. You are on the Blue Bloods College Game Time, Blue Bloods CGT YouTube channel. We drop fresh college sports content every single day. Please hit subscribe.